Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to my shop in New Brunswick, Canada. Today we're going to talk about the shooting grip that makes your plane far more effective and useful on your shooting board compared to a shooting plane. We'll compare the two. Stay with me. If you watch any of my videos, you'll probably see me using a shooting board. I use it multiple times a day, multiple times every time I'm doing some function that's going to result in a piece of furniture. It is, I think, the most useful piece of equipment in your shop next to your hand plane. In fact, we did a video on making one, show you exactly how we do ours. You're welcome to do that. Or if you don't want to and you want to buy one, we actually sell them, we make them, and they're extremely accurate. Now, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about whether or not you should buy a designated shooting plane and shooting board as a team, or can you make your regular hand plane work just as well, and I'm going to argue for this as it being even more efficient than having a designated tool. But I really like this one, so let's get at it. So let's look at the options. On this side, I have a what you would call a standard 5.5 bench plane, bevel down. This one is actually made by Wood River. There are several companies that make them. And I have a shooting board that's made out of MDF and Baltic birch with some Osage orange on the top and a piece of walnut on the back. We're pitting that against this. In this case, we have the Stanley number 51, which was the plane, and the number 52, which was the metal shooting board. Really nice setup. Really nice. I like it. Love the way that it works. However, there's obviously differences. And like I said, I'm going to argue for the plane and the designated shooting board. But this is a really nice bit of kit if you can afford one or if you can find one since they're no longer made. There's a couple. Now, I don't know the dates that this was made. Don't spend a lot of time trying to figure that out or researching it. But it was known as the number 51, which is right here on the casting of the plane, back here. No, where is it? No, sorry, right there, number 51. And the mating shooting board is the number 52, and the number is right there. Last patent date on this was 96, so I'm assuming that would be 1896. I don't know if there's a patent date on this one. Yeah, 96, 1/21/96. And that's 96. I think I said 86. I bought this. I think we paid $1,800 for it. Not a lot of them around. First thing you have to realize is it's a single-use machine, meaning you're not going to use that hand plane for anything else other than on the shooting board. So the first thing that's going to draw attention to is the fact that you really either you're going to have to lift that up and put it in place every time, and it is fairly hefty, or you're going to have a separate bench to use it on, because I certainly wouldn't have room to leave this on my bench all the time. Now, so much for the negative. Let's talk about the positive. Really like the setup of the handle and the track. You see how the plane is milled so that these sides are parallel. It sits in the track, and I'm pretty sure you can adjust. You can move that track over a little bit if you need to snug it up. But it slides easily, and moving back and forth, it just stays in position. It's got really good heft. This obviously, the face is square to the side. You know, I'm used to calling this the side. Has a nice rosewood handle. It's of that vintage. Small adjustment wheel, which is a bit of a pain, and a really thin blade. But that's just my criticism of the old planes. We can improve that. What's nice about the shooting board is, first, in the 90-degree position, which is what it is right now, it's got this little gizmo here, so if you can tighten it up and leave it out of the way, or you can put it in here like that, drop it down on your board, lock it, and it'll now hold it in position so that it doesn't pop up, yet it still allows me to push the board into the plane, which is just something you have to do when you're using a shooting board. You constantly have to keep the plane fed with the end of the board. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can adjust this. So by loosening this and lifting up this pin, you can move it to 45. I think there's just the one. Yeah, 45 and 90. Lock that in place, and now you've got that set up. Now, if you're going to use this with long boards, obviously you're going to need some support out here to keep this thing from dropping down. But somebody thought this out well, and I really like what they've done. You can also move this plate, can be moved in and out so that you can bring your support in the 45 position or in the 90 position as close to the blade as you want. I just mount it to a piece of plywood because I only ever use it just to demonstrate, and then I've got that clamp down to hold it in place. But there's some other spots in here where you can screw down through if you were going to mount it permanently to a table. Now there's another screw over here, a hole right here that is tapped, and to be quite honest with you, I don't know what that's for unless it's another position that you can put this clamp, which means you could actually put that at any angle that you want, but there's pins for both 90 and 45. So if you wanted to bring it over even more, you can do that. So the expense, single purpose, but it's a really nice machine. So this is my preference, and I'll explain to you why. You've got one plane that you can use as your general purpose plane on the bench and on your shooting board. There's a couple of issues with it. We've improved them. This is a 5.5, and of all the planes that I own, this is the one I use perhaps as much as 95% of the time. It has, David Charlesworth is responsible for converting me to it. I used to use a 4.5. It's got the mass that makes planing a lot easier because you got something behind the blade. It's long enough that you can use it on the shooting board, and on the shooting board, you want to be able to take a run at this. If I have to start right there, then it's all me pushing. But if I get to start back here, I got a bit of momentum when the blade engages that piece of wood. So the longer area you have, the more area you have right here, the better. You can't start back here for fear of smacking into the side of it. So you always have to be engaged at least with the toe. It's not overly heavy, but it's heavy enough that it gives you some serious oomph on the shooting board. On the bench, it's a great plane. It's got just what you want for most of all the work, with the exception of really long edges that you want to joint, or long surfaces, large surfaces that you want to flatten. Now, and you're not having to switch back and forth between a specialized plane and your regular plane. So it's that one plane that really fits the bill. The downside, the sides have to be square. People will say, well, yeah, you can adjust the blade. True, you can adjust the blade with the lateral adjustment lever under here, and you can get it so that the blade is cutting square on your piece. However, that means when you go back to regular planing, you're always having to bring that blade back into place, and I guarantee sooner or later you'll forget. So having square sides is really critical. They don't all come that way. You can check them. We end up having to do that ourselves to make sure that it is nice and square. Yeah, you don't have the advantage of that track. We may solve that in the near future. It's nice to be able to set that plane in that track so that you're not having to constantly be pushing the plane against the fence at the same time you're pushing the board into the plane. And that you overcome that with a bit of practice, but it is a slight pain. The minute you allow that to drift away, you lose that square setup that the shooting board provides. Well, in terms of making or holding onto the plane, there was never any provision made. I would always tell people, just take that meaty part of your palm and somehow wedge it into that angled area right there, but it would really eat away on your hand if you had any amount of work to do. So my son Jake came up with this idea. We call it the grip. Requires drilling a hole in the side of your plane, and some people will panic over that. Others don't. They realize it's a tool, and this makes it better, so be it. It's 1/4 of an inch wide by about 3/16 of an inch deep. There's a pin right there that drops into it. It's made out of cast aluminum. You put it wherever you want because it's up to you to actually do the drilling. But once done, it provides great support, great control because the blade is right there and that's where your hand is. It's very comfortable, and it protects your hand as well from those raw edges. And then you can go in there and you can do exactly what it is you want to do, which is square up the end of your board. And it comes off quickly. Has a couple little pins underneath, so I just slide it along like this and drop it into the hole. Once you've drilled the hole, those little pins will take up any slop that there might be. You put a little Loctite on them so they stay put. It works fantastically. You can keep it in your pocket. You can throw it in your bench tray. Tool tray. Anyway. So what's best? Well, final thoughts. If all you were doing was shooting all day long, can't imagine that, but your job was to square the end of boards, well, this is probably going to be your best setup. In fact, I like this one better than any of the modern versions. I just think it's the nicest, the combination of the metal shooting board and the plane. A couple things something I didn't mention is the blade is actually on an angle. It's skewed, which is nice because if you think about it, when you're hitting the end of the board with a blade that is perpendicular, it's one big slam as it engages. Nice thing about this is it's skewed, so you engage a little bit and then gradually a little bit more. So it is a nice feature, not something that you're going to easily incorporate into a bench plane, but again, you have to deal with having a separate setup. Not having the track in there, that's a really nice feature. You're not having to constantly be pushing the plane in that direction while you're also pushing the board into the plane in this direction to protect or maintain your square setup. Now, we're actually going to solve that problem in the near future. But when you're operating a shooting board, you constantly have to be feeding the board into the plane, and you constantly have to be pushing the plane against the fence a little bit harder so that you don't ever step away, which would automatically lose that square setup. The other downside to this is a little thin blade, which is what Stanley was notorious for. You can replace it with a thicker blade. In fact, we have a specially designed chip breaker that has two little tabs that reach down in the slot. The problem in replacing a thicker blade in an old Stanley plane is this right here, this yoke. That has to pass through the blade to engage the chip breaker to get to that little slot in order for you to get the full function of advancing and retracting. You put a thick blade in there and all of a sudden that's too short, it barely makes it, and you only have a little bit of adjustment. Well, by putting those tabs in there, they reach down, and now you can put a big thick blade, in this case almost twice as thick, which is a lot for stability. You may have to open the throat up a little bit. Even if you're using it on a regular bench plane, you may have to open the throat up a little bit to accommodate the extra thick blade, but it sure adds to the performance of the tool. So this is all you're going to be doing is using a shooting board, by all means, if you can grab one of these, I think you'll really like it, especially the adjustments you have over here on the fence. However, for the average person that's going to be using a shooting board while building a piece of furniture, I think this is your best bet. You have one tool, it's far less expensive. Modify it with the grip, it makes it so much easier on your palm. And make sure that you square the sides, or you buy a plane that has square sides so you're not having to deal with adjusting the blade to get a square setup every time. And for my style of work, which is constantly going back and forth between the two, I actually have a little shelf right underneath here where my shooting board sits in, so it's that close at hand all the time. I just think that for the average person building furniture for fun, this is going to be your best setup. That's my thoughts. Enjoy your woodworking. If you like my work and enjoy my style of teaching, click on any one of these videos and help take your woodworking to the next level. I've always said, better tools make the job so much easier. If you click on the link below, the chisel and plane icon, it'll take you to our site and introduce you to all the tools that we actually manufacture right here in our shop. It'll also give you information on our online and in-person workshops.